Hey, welcome to a Gutsy Guy channel. I am your host, Chris Mastery. This is the channel we talk about all things related to our guts. We're going to get down and dirty with Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut, and of course, all things related to IBDs. We're going to touch on medications and side effects, but this is a show where we're going to learn how to eat clean, to juice the right things, to make a shake that's good for your digestive system, what probiotics to take, and of course, all supplements that are going to help us live a healthy and natural lifestyle. So if you haven't hit that notification bell, hit it right now. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that as well, because I'm going to be releasing new episodes weekly as we go on this journey to learn more about our guts. So thanks for joining me for another episode of A Gutsy Guy. Hey, welcome to a Gutsy Guy channel with your host, Chris Mastery. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Thought it'd be fun to do a different format today. Going to go through a few things, things that I use, some supplements and stuff like that over the course of the next little while. And today I want to talk about 5 reasons to use L-glutamine. Okay, so again, that's 5 reasons to use L-glutamine. I got a little bit of a sampling of it right here. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it because it's one of the things that I use on a daily basis to help my diet, right? To help my healing, to help a bunch of different things. Now, some of this stuff we're going to talk about, I have some notes in front of me here, so I'm going to get into a little bit of detail. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, as always. If you're finding the information that you're receiving is awesome, please make a comment so other people can see, so the channel can move up. Obviously the idea is to help as many people as possible with this, and I'm super excited to be doing this for you because these are things that when I was going through some really tough times, I had done a lot of trial and error. I'd done a lot of research in some of the different things that may help. This was one of those things, L-glutamine, that when I was doing the research, I found a great deal of benefits to it. So again, we're going to be talking about 5 benefits or 5 reasons to use L-glutamine. And, I really thought that this would be an important first step in going forward with the channel. So let's talk a little bit about it. Why would you want to use L-glutamine? And how would you use it, right? One of the ways I use it in my shake every morning. Okay, so every morning I put about a tablespoon of L-glutamine in my shake. And the reason why I do that is many reasons, actually. It's because I found it when I was doing the research on it years ago that there were a lot of benefits to intestinal health. Okay, I'm going to give you a bit of a background before I go into the reasons, but I want to talk a little bit about it. L-glutamine is one of the 20 essential amino acids that our body uses to create proteins. Okay, amino acids are basically building blocks for those proteins, right? And the proteins help our body or intestines or immune system to create walls so that toxins and things don't affect us. Okay, we're talking about gut flora, unevenly balanced and stuff like that. So we're talking about good bacteria, bad bacteria, and these have to do with probiotics, which we're going to be doing a show on later. But I want to talk a little bit about this because this is an important step in maintaining that health and helping you to balance those things. Okay, so as we go through the channel, these are some of the things that you're going to see why we talk about them, okay? And we build them all together to hopefully build a strong diet and a strong supplement plan that you can use to hopefully stay in remission for long periods of time or forever, hopefully, right? So anyways, L-glutamine is the most abundant amino acid in the body. The thing about L-glutamine is there's 2 different types of glutamine. Okay, your body produces L-glutamine and what they call D-glutamine. Now, D-glutamine is not really an essential amino acid. There's really not a lot of benefits from what I was researching into it. It's just one of those things the body produces. Don't really need it, but it's kind of there. I guess the body just produces it. And but L-glutamine is the major factor in that. Okay, so one of the things L-glutamine does for people with things like IBDs, irritable bowel disease, Crohn's disease, UC or ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, these different types of diseases, It basically helps you with supporting your gut health, okay, and building up your intestinal walls and building, I'm going to use the word walls again, building walls around your intestinal walls so that other toxins and bad bacteria can't leak in to your system, what they call leaky gut, okay. L-glutamine exists in two different forms, like I said, and that is D-glutamine and L-glutamine. L-glutamine, though, is the main component, and some of the different types of foods you can find L-glutamine in. When I was looking at it, I was like, well, I'll take supplements, okay, like L-glutamine, and honestly, L-glutamine, you'll find it L-glutamine or glutamine. It doesn't really matter, and they're pretty much all brands are equal, at least from the research I did. I mean, some will boast, better than others. This is just the one I happen to buy at the health store. It doesn't matter which one you get from, like I said, the research that I've done, as long as you're using some sort of glutamine supplement or adding it to your supplement routine, I think it would be highly beneficial. But I like to try to get things like L-glutamine or a lot of my supplements as naturally as possible. So when I was doing this, I was like, well, how can I get it in a natural form, as well as hopefully adding it to my supplement form as well, right? So one of the things that I use a lot of, especially when I'm juicing, is purple cabbage. Huge source of L-glutamine, right? It definitely adds a bit of an interesting flavor to your juice. I like to add beets to it too, because you're getting that source of iron in there. And it kind of takes away the purple cabbage if you're not really a big cabbage person like myself. But you can also like steam your cabbage and mix it in there, because I mean, cabbage and a lot of the vegetables that you can eat, getting them raw, your body, because you're working with basically half an intestine, whether it's Crohn's or colitis, or maybe you have both and you're working with very little intestine, or you've had surgery, right? When you're working with less or not up to full capacity or 100% capacity with your digestive system, you definitely want to try to steam, boil, or cook your vegetables, like beets and carrots and anything that's basically hard, right? Purple cabbage, whatever it is. But this way you're still getting the nutrients out of it. Now, obviously you lose some of the nutrients when you do some of these things. When you cook it, it cooks down some of the nutrients, but at least you're getting some, right? So you can get it from things like chicken, beef, eggs, tofu, skim milk, white rice, corn, again, purple cabbage or cabbage. These are some of the things that you can get it from. Now, some things like corn, everybody's a little bit different. Some people can eat corn when you're in colitis or Crohn's. If you're like myself, I can't. It really bothers my system. Corn is definitely high in fructose and those kind of sugars. But I find it's just harder because you have the shells of the corn, which your body never digests even if you're fully healthy, right? And those things, when they're going through your intestines, they're kind of raking through your intestines, right? So they cause irritations and inflammation. So some of the things that you really want to look for is what types of foods can you get it from. Obviously beef, red meat. I try to stay a little bit away from red meat when I'm going through a flare, because it can be a little iffy sometimes. I mean, if I'm gonna have some pasta or something like that, I'll use a little bit, but pasta sauce is a little rough too. But yeah, so as we're going forward here, you really got to look at what's best for your health, right? And obviously, and I forgot to say the disclaimer at the beginning though, please make sure I'm no doctor, I'm not a naturopath, or I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. This is stuff I found works for me, okay? So please take it into consideration. If you need to run it by your doctor, your naturopath, or your dietitian or something like that to see if you can get some benefits out of it, please do. There's a lot of studies with some of the stuff. Some of it's inconclusive, some of it's conclusive. I mean, it's a little bit dependent. Maybe there's that, I forget what they call it, the placebo effect, where maybe it doesn't do a whole lot of good, but if you believe it does, sometimes that's all you need, right? A little bit of hope, a little bit of belief, and sometimes you can kind of change what you're doing. But I kind of want to go through the 5 benefits of taking L-glutamine. The first one I want to talk about plays a role in intestinal health, okay? So what do I mean by that? When we're talking about intestinal health, when you're talking about Crohn's, colitis, or IBS, or some of these things, right? We're talking about ulcers, just covering and lining your intestines, right? And when it just creates all sorts of irritation and creates inflammation, right? What are some of the things that create inflammation? When they talk about cancer, and like I said, I'm no expert on this stuff, definitely done a little bit of reading, done a little bit of research on it. But when you're talking about cancer, basically some of the things that feed cancers are like sugars and, right? They find a cancer cell will grow, depending on the type of cancer, will grow a lot more depending on the type of inflammation, because it's like an inflammation, right? We're talking the same thing here with your ulcers. If you've ever had an ulcer in your mouth, if you haven't been eating correctly, or canker sore, cold sore, how they call them, if you haven't been eating properly, it takes a long time for that to go away. Until you stick a little bit of salt water on it, with a Q-tip or something like that, right, to help it go away, so you kill the bacteria, right? We're talking about, and when you're talking about inflammation, you're talking about trying to not feed the inflammation, right? Because inflammation creates bad bacteria. Bad bacteria multiplies at extremely fast rates, right? So does good bacteria. But if you're feeding the bad bacteria with all these things that it loves, it's going to grow at a much faster rate. And without going into too much detail about it, because this is number 5, this is the 5th benefit, right? But without going into too much detail, we're talking about your gut flora, right? And basically we're talking about creating a wall within your intestinal walls to help it's your immune system, right? And your intestines are full of your biggest immune system booster, if you want to call it that, right? So it's going to create one of the biggest health benefits for your intestinal health and your immune system. So that's one of the benefits of L-glutamine. That's number 5. Number 4, it's a great energy source for your intestinal and immune cells. Okay, so basically this is like feeding it the good sugars, I guess you want to call it, or feeding it your good bacteria and your good cells, feeding it the good stuff and keeping the bad stuff away, right? So what we want to do is we want to feed the good things and starve the bad things. They find when they starve cancer cells, they shrink and die, right? So that's what we want to do here, is we want to starve the bad cells, starve the bad bacteria, and feed the good bacteria and feed the good cells. And L-glutamine is a great way to do that. Number 3, helps maintain the barrier between the inside of your intestines and the rest of your body to protect against something called leaky gut. What do I mean by leaky gut? Okay, well, when you have your intestines, and maybe I'll see if I can find some little pictures and graphs to put up as well. But when you're talking about leaky gut, basically what happens is you get all sorts of toxins and bad bacteria. There's lots of different forms of it and stuff like that. When they're in your intestines, basically what they can do is if they start eating away at your intestines, they start breaking through the wall membranes, and then they start leaking into the rest of your body and your system. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I do notice it. If I'm eating poorly, I used to always think pimples, and this is maybe not for everybody, but one thing I always notice with pimples, I used to always think it was from the outside effect. Well, my face was greasy, or I was sweating lots, or I had dirt on it, and it blocked the pores, and I got a pimple. Well, generally, from what I know about it, it actually comes from internal. So what you're doing is your body is reacting to different things, and it's starting to show in different forms, right? Because you can scrub that spot and then get another pimple a day later, right? Or that'll just grow and then you pop it and whatever, right? So kind of a gross thing. I find that, and I get pimples in weird places, and let's be real, we're talking about Crohn's and colitis, so we can definitely talk about the bathroom trips and how nasty it can be, and the splatter and the blood and the smell and all those kind of things. Well, I know when I'm eating poorly, I get pimples in really weird places. I get them kind of like under my armpits, I get them on my back, I get them in a bunch of different places. And I generally find that's from eating too much sweets or sugars or foods that have too much processed things in it. And, whether it's fast food or whatever, like greases and trans fats and stuff like that, right? Fructoses and all these different like corn syrups and stuff like that. So, but I find that when I'm eating those kind of things, that's when my body starts to show out. And it doesn't always happen right. Sometimes it happens right away. When you have leaky gut, it tends to happen faster, right? So we're talking about leaky gut. It's just one of the I guess, side effects of not taking care of your immune system or your intestinal health. Let's go into number 2. Prevents harmful bacteria and toxins from reaching the rest of your body. Okay, so if we could prevent the leaky gut, right? If we can prevent the leaky gut, we're going to prevent those bad bacteria from absorbing into the rest of your body. And then who knows, maybe you're getting rashes or pimples, or from some of the things I've read that people get, it's kind of crazy. Maybe they're getting headaches or their vision's going, and it can manifest in all sorts of different ways, shapes, and forms, right? So that's one of the things that prevents a lot of things from happening. So if you want to keep your gut health strong, make sure you're getting your L-glutamine sources, right? Maybe from natural foods. If you're not in a flare right now and your gut health is in really good shape, try to get it from natural foods. Maybe you don't got to take the supplement so much, right? Because that means your intestinal walls are going to be good. You're not going to be having leaky gut. If you're in that stage though, getting it, because if your body's not producing enough, or it's just producing just enough, never hurts to have a little bit, but maybe you don't have to take the supplement. If you're going through a flare, try to get it from the natural substances. Like I said, I juice it. Sometimes I will steam the vegetables and stuff. And obviously having a little bit of chicken breast, I will do. And whatnot, but I try not to get it, like I said in the past, from supplements when I'm doing well, right? Because your body produces enough of it. When you're going through a flare, your body's in all sorts of states of flux, is what I like to call it. So you're not always your body's not producing everything it needs. It's trying to fight off the infections. It's trying to get to that state of normalcy, or just to be healthy again. And like I said before, if you ever got scraped an elbow when you were young, right, your body just kind of healed itself. And I always thought, well, if it's healing itself on the outside, it definitely wants to get to that balance of healed on the inside, right? So some of the things that I used to do is well, I'm trying to heal my body. So what do I got to feed it to heal it, right? And if we're doing we want to do preventative measures now, right? So we were talking about it before as healing it, but this time we're talking about preventative measures. So number 3 was healing. Number 2 is preventative, okay? Number 1, may reduce muscle soreness and recovery after intense exercises. And it's believed to help heal tissues and muscles, because it creates those proteins to help you heal. One of the things I know, because I like to work out or play sports and stuff like that, I know when I'm doing that, I will take either a shot of this or put it in my shake after. I just find that it helps with the soreness, and hopefully it's helping me to heal faster. And when we're talking about healing your intestines, and this was probably the number 1 reason why I took L-glutamine when I was sick at home for 6 months. One of the worst flares in my life, other than the very first time I got colitis, because I didn't know what was going on, so it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But I was 23 years old, so my body healed really quickly, and the medication worked, and everything was good. Well, when all the meds stopped working and I was trying to heal myself, I was like, well, what's going to help me heal? L-glutamine. Like I said, whether it's a placebo effect or not, something I believe that would help. And, I went into a 6-year remission based on this is one of the supplements I use. And I think it's a very valuable one. So if you can add it to your routine, I think it would be hugely valuable for you. And the other thing is too, I want to kind of talk about it. So how are you going to take this, right? So like I said, if you look back through some of my other videos, I do a shake video where I add a teaspoon or a tablespoon, of L-glutamine, right? You can also take shots. When I'm going through a flare, sometimes I'll have it by my bed, and I'll take a quick shot of it in the morning, and I'll put it in my shake, and I'll drink that for my breakfast, whatever, for the first part of my morning. And then right before I go to bed, I'll take a quick shot of that too. Like I said, teaspoon or a tablespoon of it in a glass of water. Mix up, doesn't really have a flavor, but it's something you can kind of see some of the benefits of it, right? I just believe that when my body's in resting or when my intestines are fairly empty, I'm going to put those amino acids in there. It's going to help to heal things a lot faster. As I'm sleeping, it's going to go to work while I'm sleeping. And those were the type of things I'm always trying to look to give my body an advantage for healing, right? So hopefully you found some value out of these 5 benefits. I believe that L-glutamine, if you're not using L-glutamine, I believe you need to use L-glutamine. Super excited about this one because, like I said, this is probably one of my favorites. It's a really easy one. You can get it at most health food stores, depending on where you're at in the States or whatever. I usually get it at Popeyes or a health food store. Always have it on hand because I think it's super popular. You can get it in the form of L-glutamine or glutamine, doesn't matter. It's just maybe a label that they put on there. And if you guys are liking the videos, you're liking the information, like I said, I'm going to put some stats up on the side here. Hopefully I left enough room in the camera. But I'm going to put some stats up so you guys can kind of see some of these things. Hopefully you're going to add this to your regimen and it's going to actually work for you. But I'm going to tell you something right now. This is one of the things that I do. Okay. Like I said, what we're always constantly trying to do is give our body as much of an advantage or upper hand in trying to heal itself, right? If you're in a bad state right now, you're going to struggle. It's going to be hard. If this is the only thing you're adding, I don't know if you're going to see results. Some people may, some people may not, right? But one of the things that if you can add this one thing to your supplement regimen, out of the many other things that hopefully we can talk about here in the near future, this might give you that little bit of an upper hand along with some of the other things we're going to talk about in the near future, as well as cooking clean and staying away from processed foods and those kind of things. If you can add that kind of stuff, you might start seeing a huge difference in your immune health, in your body health, in your intestinal health, and just in your overall health. And that's the goal of this channel, is to help you guys see some results. Because, I mean, let's face it, none of us want to be sick forever. I definitely didn't, and I know you don't as well. So like I said, if you're seeing the value, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to share it, feel free to share it. Make a comment below if you've tried something and you'd like to see me do a video on it. I have a bunch of other ones that I'm excited to do here in the near future, and hopefully I'm bringing you guys some good information. So I'm out for today. Please look forward to another video, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me for another episode of The Gutsy Guy. Hopefully you all got some value out of that episode. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and the thumbs up. Make sure you give those all a click right now. And hopefully you all are staying healthy and happy. See you on the next episode.